It is Monday, July 1st, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by Booking.com. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Tommy along for the ride as well. Are you doing that to rub it in my face that here come the Twins? I love that jersey, by the way. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. No, I'm not. There's still quite a few games back from your Guardians, but they are looking good, Chris.
Okay. Hope you had a great weekend. It was very, very busy. We try to keep it to 5, maybe 6 topics. I could have done like a dozen today.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. A lot of special moments. We got guys performing songs. We got cycles. We got a lot of people yelling. Why was there so much yelling going on? Hunter Green was yelling, and
yeah,
we're going to talk about some other guys. So
I'm going to ask you that in just a second. But first, not one, but 2 tips of the cap, plural, because of what happened in Sunday Night Baseball to wrap up the week. I guess if you count the week from Monday to Sunday. Wyatt Langford, he's starting to come for the Texas Rangers. Hit for a cycle last night. He becomes the first rookie in history to have an inside the park, a grand slam, and hit for the cycle all in 1 year. That's pretty good.
No, he's they need him to get going. They're so far out of it right now, and a big reason has been an underperforming offense. So to get him going, it's signs of life down there in Texas. Okay.
The reason, however, I am wearing a Padres hat is because the biggest tip of the cap goes to San Diego starter Matt Waldron, who a couple of years ago formed a relationship with the late Tim Wakefield, and he had a chance to pitch at Wake's old place at Fenway Park on Sunday. Paid homage to him by throwing a knuckleball first pitch. You saw the number 49. Everybody in Boston and at Fenway knew about it, including Alex Cora, who said, "Thank you, Matt Waldron." Obviously, it was an emotional time.
I know.
Yeah, I think that
Wakefield's towed that rubber, and it was you could feel it, but yeah, it was tough.
I mean, you're talking about a guy being in an opposing ballpark and shedding tears.
I mean, that community of knuckleballers is very close and tight, and there are not many of them. So you have a chance that a legend, you start talking on a Zoom call, form a relationship. Like, yeah, I'm kind of going through that today, July 1st, 5 years since my buddy Tyler Skaggs passed away. So I get what he's feeling, and it's special for him to be able to go do that. I said that on Talking Baseball earlier today. Like, Padres don't necessarily go to, or used to not be able to go to Fenway very often. Now with the new schedule, this is why it's so cool that we have a new schedule. But that was a pretty cool moment for everybody involved.
By the way, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm past the morning stage. I'm celebrating life.
Good. I thought Waldron did a tremendous job explaining, and there are countless stories from over the weekend why this was so important. He and his brother used to use Tim Wakefield in a video game. Like, that's when he first became interested in throwing a knuckleball, and then to be introduced to a guy who won 200 games in the show, was a former position player, and then made the adjustment to become not only a pitcher, but a knuckleball pitcher. I thought it was just outstanding stuff. Really, really cool. So we go from that, which was touching and heartfelt, to a wide range of emotions. On Saturday, up in Milwaukee, Justin Steele, he's pitched very well, as have a lot of the starters in Chicago. Defense kind of failed him. The bats have totally failed him. He went ballistic in the dugout. So did he patch it up with his buddies afterward?
For the most part, I would just like to keep that between me and the team. Personally, should probably do a little bit better job of controlling my emotions on the field in front of people and stuff, just for kids and families. And I got a nephew that watches me pitch, so just as far as that stuff goes. But as far as the rest of it goes, we won the game, and that, to me, that's what matters most.
Now, this came about 24 hours after Marcus Stroman, up north of the border where he used to pitch. He was in the middle of a tough inning. Thought maybe the Yanks could have turned to Gleyber Torres. He thought maybe he was a little slow in getting the ball out on the transfer. Still kind of went a little nutty in the dugout, but gave a very good explanation post-game.
This game can definitely have a lot of raw emotion come out. So, I'm very passionate. I care a lot about winning for this team, for this city. And, yeah, sometimes raw emotion comes out. So I checked in with everybody I needed to check in with after the game. And yeah, like I said, it's all directed towards winning and being great out there. And sometimes it's frustrating.
You know, both Aaron Boone and Craig Counsell, the respective managers of those teams, said it comes from a place of love. Is that good enough? Because there were a lot of people wondering, hey, hold on, if you do that stuff, whether it's an emotional game or not, you're being a shitty teammate.
Okay, let me start with this. Number one, you're never going to see a position player go yell at a pitcher for not throwing strikes. Not going to come back in the dugout and yell, "Why can't you throw strikes?" Because we understand, like, there's sometimes you're going to fail. Pitchers, on the other hand, they're like the only ones that get really upset like that at other people, and it's because they're used to controlling everything. They control the variables. So when the defense fails, that's and it comes on their statistics, that's when they get upset. Now, so I don't love that aspect of it, but I will say this. It's not really about the moment. It's about what you do after the moment. We understand that emotions are going to run high in these games. And, you want guys to care. Do I love what they did? Absolutely not. I don't think they loved what they did. But if you go up afterwards and apologize or speak to your teammates about it and go up there and make your rounds and do what you have to do, then I'm okay with it. Which it sounds like both of them, or at least Stroman said he went and said things. Justin Steele was a little bit more tight-lipped about what happened. So again, like, I don't love what they did. I think you can't really be doing that. And again, I understand when people are like, oh, they're emotional, you need that, and all these things. But like, again, starting pitchers are the only ones, or pitchers in general, the only ones that'll blow up like that. But I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen, to other players on the team. As long as they come up to you afterwards and say, "Hey, man, my emotions got the best of me," then it's water under the bridge. You move on. With the Yankee situation, a lot of people will say, "Oh, that sparked. They needed that. That sparked them." I don't know if that's the case or they just started crushing the ball. So again, I guess my answer is they shouldn't have done it in the first place. But what really matters is what they do afterwards. And it sounded like they both handled it the right way.
First of all, I loved Stroman's explanation. Like, he took us to places that a lot of guys don't. As you mentioned, Justin Steele was much more contrite about it. That's fine. Stroman is a guy that does like to explain himself. He continued to do that on social media afterwards, saying, I have to be better. And yeah, he does. He does. Once again, I don't care what players say about the media or about fans or anything else. All I ever care about is what happens inside of a clubhouse and how your actions and your words reflect on other people. You think Gleyber Torres is like, what the fuck are you doing? And I don't know who Steele was
Of course he
mad
is.
at. Of course he is. And it's embarrassing because Gleyber Torres had a tough week, right? He didn't run something out. He ended up sitting on the bench. They got some interesting shots of him while he was there. Like, it wasn't a great few days for him. And now you've got your starting pitcher yelling at you. Like, yeah, I imagine that probably ruffled a few feathers. But as you said, we all have bad days. I've had bad days when I've done shows and have regretfully said some stuff to people. It's not competition, but I like it when things go right. And I've had to apologize afterwards. Sucks. It's not fun. But he did the right thing. He kind of let us into the world, I thought was kind of cool. You just don't like pitchers. But you're right. You know what? I never thought about it. You made an excellent point, which is those are the only guys who do it. The only guys. I think you want to say the pitchers are a little spoiled, don't you?
I've said it a million times. Of course, they're prima donnas. Starters more than relievers, but relievers can get there as well, especially if you're like a backhand reliever closer. You get the whole freaking. Okay, I'm done.
But can we get this out, please? Pitchers cannot fire up a team.
So you don't think Stroman fired the team up? I think sometimes. Okay, so I don't think it was like, hey, oh, thank goodness Marcus did that. I think there are times where it's like that energy, whether it's directed properly or not, will permeate through a team.
How often are pitchers team leaders?
Very rarely.
Right.
Yeah.
You could say it. You could say it. You guys laugh at them because
Well, it's just different. But yeah, they just don't play every day.
right. Relievers, I think you guys have a different viewpoint on than starters.
Yes.
Okay.
But still, it's the position players are typically the team leaders.
Yes. All right, we don't talk a ton about music on this show, but I think we have to. OMG. The number one hit on iTunes, thanks to Mets infielder Jose Iglesias. He broke it out on the field after the Mets beat the Astros on Friday night. Okay, before we ask the question I want to ask, I was walking around the house all weekend singing, "Oh my God." I could not get it out of my head. So I understand why it's number one on iTunes.
I was playing it during my barbecue last night. I mean, I wasn't like, I said, hey, like there's a song out there. I'll play it for a few people. And they liked it. It was good. It's a good song.
It
Good,
is. It's
catchy
catchy.
song.
It's catchy. So are you on board with it? Or are you like, okay, if you're going to do this on Friday, you damn well better win either Saturday or Sunday?
No, I love it. I don't know. Like it's I guess they're lucky it's coincided with, they had I believe the second best winning percentage in June. So like the team is playing well. I don't think it would have played if you're just in the doldrums and it's a horrible June. I don't think they probably would have done that, or maybe they would have. I don't know. But he's hitting 425. Like things are all good in Jose Iglesias' world, dude.
Yep.
He's back in the big leagues. He's got a number one single. The team's doing well. He's doing well. And this is just like, I told Jake this earlier, like what other team could have storylines like this? It's the Mets, dude. Some McDonald's character throws a first pitch, you go on a winning streak. Your journeyman freaking utility infielder is hitting 400 for you and has a number one single. Like the Mets continuously put out the craziest storylines, and I'm stoked for them because they're right in the thick of it again. So I'm on board with it. If it was a bad song, I might say differently, but it's a good song too. That counts for something.
No, let's go with it. And I loved it that his whole team was out there smiling, laughing, enjoying the moment. There's a great shot of Edwin Diaz, who's suspended during this time, who's like sitting in the upper. By the way, can we get him a better seat? Can we get the guy a better seat, please? He's an all-star closer. He's a $100 million man. Maybe let's move down a section or two. Maybe is there a suspended section?
Maybe. I don't know. I've never been suspended, Chris.
Oh, you're such a good boy. Yeah. Pat yourself on the head for that.
Ever yelled at a teammate?
No. Never been ejected.
Not in the big leagues.
Yeah, that's a way to keep that record clean. I loved it. I thought it was great. And, I was thinking to myself, man, the Mets have to win either Saturday or Sunday for me to talk about them and put this question in the shit. And no, it was cool. They just happened to run into a team that's playing exceptional baseball. The Astros, we talked about them a couple times last week. They're back. I think they're within 3.5 of the Mariners. They've won 9 of 10. Hunter Brown has finally arrived. They're in good shape. Now, the Mets, I will say this. They were 11 games under 500 early in June. Now on July 1st, just one under 500. There are 4 series before the break. They got a pair with Washington. By the way, James Wood makes his Major League debut tonight. We'll break it down on tomorrow's show. Pittsburgh and Colorado. So Mets, show up. Some opportunities for you. But I'm sure those other teams are probably thinking, hey, we're playing the Mets. We've got some opportunities to make some ground up here too.
Jose Iglesias has had how many? He's played for 8 teams. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different numbers in his career. Like the epitome of a journeyman. I love it.
Yeah, and he's supposedly a great dude, really good clubhouse guy, and guy can sing, man. I wish I could sing. That's the one talent I wish I could do.
I saw him. Like we played against each other in AAA when he was with Boston early on, and his glove was always just like it stood out on the field.
Wait, with Boston? Wasn't he with Detroit before that?
Boston
he started Boston?
Yeah.
So, he went and he came back to Boston.
Yeah, came back to Boston, but he started in Boston. So in Pawtucket, I saw him. I believe it was Pawtucket for the first time. For the first time, and like even then, like his glove was just like, whoa, it's different.
Okay. Hey, this episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. We are at July. That means you're taking your summer vacations. And if you love baseball, it is time to explore all those U.S. cities you secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your arch rival cities. We got hotels, we got bed and breakfast, we got vacation rentals, we got resorts, we got so much more. It's available on Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay, yes, even in your baseball rival city. Like, okay, you play each team in your division 13 times. That means 2 different road trips, including most likely one during the summer when you could take the whole family. Like, let's say I'm a Cleveland guy and I haven't been to Comerica and I want to check that out, or I want to go to the south side of Chicago. There's so many great places to stay. Some of them even overlook the ballpark, which is kind of fun. You probably thought, oh, I'd never want to go see what the Tigers and where they live, or the White Sox or the Twins, or Kansas City, if I really want to make a lengthy trip to a place where it's 1,000 degrees in July. But yeah, you can. And Booking.com has so many choices across the country for your summer travels this baseball season. So the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, an official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. You can do that on the site or in the Booking.com app. Go do it today. And also later this week on Friday, we've got our Booking.com question of the week, so make sure you send it in. All right, cool stuff in the National League, certainly for a pair of division leaders. Brewers, 5 grand slams in 8 games. Holy smokes, they took care of the series against the Chicago Cubs. Their lead continues to be nice and plumpy. Trey Turner, 3 hits on his 31st birthday to help Philly come back against Miami. Also, a lot of good weekend for playoff contenders in the National League. Who stole the show, in your opinion?
I'm going to go with the Padres. Going into Fenway. Oh, are you doing that too?
I'm just wearing the hat.
Okay. Going into Fenway, doing it. We've seen them go on these runs. I think they won 9 of 11 games. We've seen them go on these runs before, and usually right after this, it's like they lose 5 in a row and they get swept by the Angels or something like that. But it seems a little bit different now. Manny Machado's really been going last 11 games for them. So they were 9-2, like I mentioned. 18 hits, 400 batting average, 1.1ing it, like 4 homers. He's going. Jackson Merrill, I think he had 9 homers in the month. So he's going off. Like, things are kind of looking up for them. And again, I want this team to be good. The star power is there. The way they play baseball is fun. Like, they got a little testy with Washington. But every time they go on one of these runs, it's followed up by some kind of weird roller coaster loss session. So I'm hoping they don't do that now. They have their schedule is interesting. I believe they go to Seattle, or they play Seattle. They have Atlanta coming up. I think they're in Texas the next series. Guys, just go out there and play good ball, please. Like, we don't need this out of you all the time. Like, let's just kind of get up there, get your record 6, 7, 8 games above 500, firmly entrench yourself in a playoff position, because I think they play fun, compelling baseball. And I want to see them in the playoffs.
And we know that AJ Preller is going to pull off some move before the month is up. We know that. You mentioned Jackson Merrill very quickly. I think he grew up in Maryland, but was a huge Red Sox fan growing up.
Yes.
And he said when he hit that homer, I think it was Friday night, he said it was the coolest moment of his life.
No, he didn't say it was the coolest moment. He said it was the dopest moment of my career.
Sorry, when I'm 53, there's no way. I have to have some liberty with the quote.
I don't think dopest is used either. That's like a weird, whatever.
Hey, but when you're 21 and cool like he is, you can use whatever word and it sounds great. I, too, am going to pick a team in the National League West, but up the California coast from San Diego. That would be the San Francisco Giants. Ramos continued an all-star season on Sunday. He had 2 of their 10 doubles. 10 doubles. That's the most by a Giants team since the New York Giants in 1912. I thought the standout part of the weekend happened Sunday, though, on the pitcher's mound. Spencer Bivens made his first major league start last night at age 29, and what a journey he has had. He wanted to go to Penn State from a different college, got kicked out of there because of a drug issue, had to find his way to a Division II school called Rogers State University. Shame on me. Sorry, never heard of it. He then didn't make it into the show because of the abbreviated draft, ended up pitching in the French Independent League, went over to Czechoslovakia, wanted to pitch over there, but COVID wiped out that season, came back here, pitched in indie ball, and eventually the Giants gave him an opportunity. And here he is at a time where they basically have 2 starting pitchers going right now. Every time through the rotation, gives him 5 innings against the Dodgers. You saw him fired up, striking out Shohei twice. What a great moment. And by the way, I'm not going to mention him by name, but there's a pretty good Dodgers beat writer. He's followed them for years, and he said that Bivens acted like he just got the last out of the World Series. He wrote that on social media. If you know the kid's background, let him have his moment. He just struck out freaking Shohei Ohtani, who's the best player maybe that's ever walked the planet, most talented player ever. He punched him out twice. Let him have his moment.
And when you have to grind and grind and grind to get your opportunity, and some of it's self-inflicted, and COVID happens and all these things that you have to go through, then you finally get to pitch in front of your home crowd in the big leagues against the Dodgers, and you put up a nice stat line, and you could do whatever you want. Like that, those emotions are real. That's not like, what's he supposed to do? That is that's adrenaline coursing through your body. And I don't know who said it, but I guess I can go look it up. Relax a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Relax.
Let him have his moment. It's one of those, when you hit send on social media, and we've all done it, we've all typed out something ridiculous, and you look at it and you're like, oh, God.
You should just be happy for the guy.
Exactly.
Think about what he's had to go through, and then imagine you doing something that took so long for you to get to, and you finally get there. You wouldn't be happy?
I think it's great. Really, really cool story. Giants wrap up a 7-game homestand, 5-2. Now they have a 6-game roadie at Atlanta, at Cleveland. So we'll see how they go. Speaking of Cleveland, AL Central got a little tighter this weekend. Your Twins took another series on the West Coast, this time up in Seattle. Kansas City took 3 of 4 from Cleveland, which also demoted starting pitcher Tristan McKenzie on Sunday. So what is the biggest worry for my Guardians? Is it Minnesota? Is it Kansas City? Or is it their own starting rotation?
I think they need to be worried about both Kansas City and Minnesota. Minnesota's kind of on a heater with Buxton doing what he's doing down towards the bottom of the lineup. Their lineup is pretty long right now. The offense looks really, really good. And if you go back, I haven't looked it up, but I did a couple of weeks ago. They're one of the better offenses in baseball over the last couple 6 weeks. And their pitching's been pretty good. Their bullpen is really good. So I guess it is the starting pitching. You've mentioned it so many times. Maybe Gavin Williams coming back is all they need, because Bybee's been pretty good. Lively's been pretty good. You mentioned the taxation that's been on their bullpen hasn't seemed to slow them down yet. So I guess that is, if there's one fault that they have, it would be that. And then it's the other teams just kind of playing pretty good baseball as well. So I don't know. They've been dealing with it all season long, and they have the second best record in baseball. So what is it? Is it really a problem if it hasn't been a problem? We keep waiting for this bullpen to be overtaxed. But as you've mentioned many times, it's not 4 guys getting taxed. It's the entire bullpen is good. So if you can space it out, I know I just read in the notes, the Clase had 4 days off. So they're able to do that for him. I don't know, man. I don't think they have much to worry about right now. So I'll give the starting pitching as my answer. I don't think they're going to be able to go outside the organization to find some miracle answer there, because there's not a lot of people available, number one, and there's a lot of teams looking for starting pitching. So they're not a team that seems like they give up a ton to go get pitching. I don't know.
Right. The question is, because Cleveland is very deep at 2 positions right now in their farm system, shortstop and first base. Are they willing to give that up in division to go get a Jack Flaherty, who you would think would probably be a pretty decent guy for them? But you're right. Everybody's going to want to get their mitts on Jack Flaherty, the way he's bounced back the first half of this year. The correct answer is D, this one.
All?
D is A, B, and C.
I said that. All right.
Yeah. So, this is one of those where it's okay to answer all of them, because it was kind of a trick question. I wanted to see, but you're so smart. Would have gone to USC had you not been drafted 20th overall in 04. I think it was USC.
Well, I signed with SC, but I had a full ride from Stanford. No big deal.
Okay. Go Cardinal. So, the starting pitching, and we'll see McKenzie at some point, but his June stats horrific. 18 and a third innings, 8 homers, 15 walks, opponent OPS of 1.1er. Not good. Only 2 starters on their 7-game road trip through Baltimore and Kansas City saw the 6th inning. That's not good enough either.
Let me tell you, Minnesota's bullpen is coming.
Yeah,
Jorge Alcala, all of a sudden he's throwing 102 miles an hour out of nowhere. Get Brock Stewart back. Yeah, they got a really, really good back end of the bullpen too, and the starters are starting to go a little bit.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting second half in that division because I do think there's 3 really, really good teams there. That's what I think, at least. So warmer, sunnier, hotter days are officially here, right? You walk outside, you're like, dang, it is hot. That means 2 things. Put your sunblock on, and it also means fuel up that body. We can take care of the second one here thanks to Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals right in time for summer thanks to a menu of chef-crafted meals, options like Calorie Smart and Protein Plus and Keto. These are fresh, never frozen meals. They're dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Or if you're weird like me, I poke a couple of holes, set the microwave for 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That's the old Love Connection thing. Go look it up. 35 different meals to choose from, more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, so you'll have new flavors to explore. They'll take care of you all the way from breakfast to dessert. You'll stay fueled and ready to go. If you're like me, middle of the day, that's always tough. Sometimes we don't have food around, but if I got a Factor meal like yesterday, it was perfect. Punctured a couple holes, ate it, belly was full. That's hard to do with Rose. So head on over to factormeals.com/baseball50. Use that code baseball50. You're going to get half off your first box, plus 20% off the next month. That is the code baseball50 at factormeals.com. Half off the first box, 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. All right, Gunnar Henderson, he's going to be active during the All-Star break because he won't get much of a break. He's going to play in that game, whether he's going to be the starter or coming in after Bobby Witt starts. That still remains to be seen. However, he is going to be participating in Monday's Home Run Derby, which will have new rules in Arlington. Follow me here. No bracket play until the semis. That just means the top 4 out of the 8 competitors advance. Like it. Also, a maximum of 40 pitches and 3 minutes will be seen in the first 2 rounds. Then it cuts to 27 pitches and 2 minutes in the championship. You still get a timeout each time. And then there's bonus balls at the conclusion of each round. Those are untimed. So should cut down on the exhaustion rate. That's a good thing. Do you think the adjustments are good and will entice more high-profile players to sign up?
I think they are good. I don't know about the enticing players. I think the $1 million is probably the biggest thing that will get guys to come out there still. But we always talked about like the rules weren't really enforced there. When it was a free-for-all and you just had as many pitches as possible in that time limit, they were supposed to wait for the homers to land or the swings to land, and some guys abided by the rules and some guys didn't. And I was like, we can't have a real competition when the rules are skirted like this. So I think the 40 pitches or 3 minutes, and then he goes down in the second round. I think that's perfect. I like this a lot. I think they're cleaning things up. I think I'm sure they talked about that. Like, hey, nobody's really following these rules. We have to set some sort of limit so it's fair for everybody. We're all getting the same amount of swings essentially. The exhaustion thing is definitely part of it. You watch that thing; those guys do get tired from swinging that much, so that'll help. So yeah, I think the changes are good. I'm very curious to see who else comes out and is part of it. I love that Gunner's doing it. You got the young stud. He's like, dude, I'm not making that much money right now. Let me go get $1 million real quick.
Right. No, and he's had a great year. His swing's perfect for it. He's from Texas, isn't he?
I think he's Alabama.
Oh, he might be Alabama. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be there.
We will be there. We can't wait. We're going to sit. I don't know if we're in left field or right field, but we're in the outfield. So we're going to go get him. I'm going to get Plouffe will bring me a mitt, and I'll be ready to go.
Yep.
Adolis Garcia, sign up now because it can't be Seager. I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to do it. So I would like to see Adolis do it. He would hit some fun ones, and it's always important. I remember one year in Anaheim, the Angels, I don't think, had a representative. I think Big Papi won it, which was cool, but if there's not a home representative.
Yeah, you need a home guy, yeah.
Yeah, you need somebody. But are we going to see Ohtani? Probably not. Are we going to see Judge? No, that's done. So might we see Vlad again?
Probably.
I don't know.
Pete
Probably.
Alonso, yes.
Pete Alonso, just sign him up until he's like 50.
Yeah.
Just let him go.
Yeah, I
But
wonder who
think-
the wild card is going to be. Like, who's going to come in and like, okay, he's really in the Derby, and then comes and has a great round. That's always a fun part of the Derby.
But these are all really good adjustments. I loved it when they started to put the timer in. I was a big fan of it. It gave it some immediacy. We don't have a clock in baseball for the most part. Now we got a pitch clock, but talking about like where it's like this, like almost like a shot clock. So that part's good. Good adjustments.
So homers, Judge 31, Henderson and Ohtani 26, Jose Ramirez 23, Santander 22. Is Josh Naylor going to do it, or is Jose Ramirez going to do it? Naylor would be a great homer.
Naylor would be great. He would be great. Yeah, I mean, hair would be flying all over the place.
We need Ellie or O'Neal Cruz.
Yes, that's the
One of those
other
two.
guys we were talking about around the Rose dinner table last night. All right, two really interesting videos over the weekend. You had the great throw to get, I believe it was Riley Green stealing at second, Ohapi to Guillorme. I mean, first of all, throwing from your knees and then catching it in the air and then the swipe tag between the twigs. That was awesome. And then because of an injury to Mitch Garver, the Mariners lost their DH, so Luis Castillo had to hit. I wouldn't say hit. He had to have an at bat, and he saw 3 pitches right down the middle and then walked away. Which one of those more was a wow moment for you?
The Ohapi throw. I mean, come on. I don't want to see any pitchers hitting ever again. I mean, that's just pure athleticism. He's had a really good year. He kind of gets, we don't talk about him too much because of what the Angels are doing record-wise, but good-looking guy. He's kind of been everything that the Angels had hoped he'd be. He's doing his part down there.
Oh, yeah, he's done great. And he's in Nicky Cass's cell. So if you're in Nicky Cass's cell, you're all right in my book.
Luis Castillo's like taking pitches, still stepping way in the bucket. That's the first thing you learn as a hitter. Don't step in the bucket.
Dude, he was up there to take an out. It stinks. That's always the main danger when you have your number one catcher DHing like they did with Cal Raleigh, and then Garver gets hurt, and you're like, man, where's our emergency catcher when we need him? Could you have caught?
No. I mean, I caught a bullpen in the big leagues at one game. I think I've told that story before, but heck no, man. Catching's so hard.
Oh, it looks
especially when you get the big leagues, get balls moving all over the place.
That looks terrifying.
I'd still one of those, they don't wear like the things like on the neck, like little leaguers. I would wear one of those because I'd be like this.
Yeah, I'd wear extra. I would look like the Michelin Man out there. Just in case. I wouldn't want anything to bounce and hit me anywhere. No, I'm kind of at the worst.
You'd squat down once and then never get back up.
I'd be frozen in time. I would be doing the show like this for the rest of time. That would be it. All right, fun start to the week. Good stuff. Appreciate everybody being here. Yeah, go ahead, call.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. 1.19 million.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in the chat. By the way, there's other people that are getting significantly more money, just not for like a 25-year stretch. Ken Griffey Jr. is like the 4th or 5th highest paid Red this year. He's getting over $3.5 million. Chris Davis.
Chris Davis, Max Scherzer, I believe.
Max Scherzer is getting paid by 3 teams today.
Yeah.
He gets $15 million from the Nats. He's getting like 20 something from the Mets and 17 from the Rangers. It is a hell of a day to be Max Scherzer. God dang. Holy smokes.
How much did I get paid today? Not much.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned Chris Davis. What's he getting? 8 or something? Something like that. Should we work out deferred payments with Jimmy and Jake in the next deal?
Just like $50. $50
a month. Here's 17 cents every July 1st until 2078. That'd be great. I'll be gumming my way through life at that point. All right, everybody, have a great day. We are back at it again tomorrow, most likely at 11:30 a.m. Eastern if you want to join us live. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Tommy Young, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com.